All right. Hello. Welcome to the RMR Training Podcast. We got the full squad here. Ryan Kent and Meg Jacoby. We're all fired up. We're all going to be in Miami in 2 weeks. A little reunion.
MIA.
Been a minute. When was the last time we were all in the same spot? Was it camp?
That's a great question, actually.
It's been a minute. So we're going to hang out.
No, Vegas.
That's right.
Right.
We were all in Vegas.
Yeah.
We didn't hang
Meg, I
out,
saw you for
though.
like 1 second. Yeah.
Rich hunted me. I was like walking in the venue. He hunted me down. We like dapped up, and I was like, "Okay, gotta go." And he was like, "I do too." Like that was it.
Yeah.
1 second.
That was 1 second for sure. So today we're going to talk about a mix of topics, just kind of catching up and talking about some training stuff. Some residual questions from the Q&A last week. And there are the first question I did want to touch on. I had some thoughts on it. I think you guys will have some thoughts on it as well. Is working zone 2 on ski and row beneficial, or could it hinder race results because it might be too slow?
I think it's. I do it every day.
On ski and row?
I'm on the ski and row every day, and most of my time on there is zone 2.
Nice.
I'm telling you, it's not hindering any results for me. It's made me 10 times better on both machines. I've learned, I think it's really important to do a variety of intensity on them, because you also really learn your body and the feel of your body, how to control your stroke rate, how to control your pace, your effort, like how much you're pushing off your legs, how much you're pulling down with your upper body. Like I can also change if I'm trying to keep it in zone 2, like I know what stroke rate I need to be at to like have the pace to be in zone 2. You can control your heart rate. I hook my heart rate monitor right up to the screen and just stare at it, and like I can adjust while toying with like how hard I'm pulling or whatever. I think it's extremely important. It's also just easy aerobic work that you do with low impact. And for most people who aren't really proficient runners or haven't been running for a very long time, like a lot of us who can't handle high mileage, this is a great tool to build endurance. So I don't know. I'm all for it.
I agree 100%. I mean, yesterday I did a 2-hour trail run in the mountains. This morning I woke up, legs were feeling tired. So right before we popped on this podcast, I did 4 rounds of 5-minute assault bike, 5-minute row, 5-minute ski. 5-minute assault bike, 5-minute row, for an hour.
You're doing my erg circle workout.
Erg circles. Yeah.
Erg circles.
I didn't run 1 step, but I got an hour of aerobic conditioning, and then this afternoon, legs might feel a little better. I'll go out for, 5 or 6 miles, but yeah, it's just an easy way to get extra aerobic volume without taking a ton of damage.
Yeah. There's this idea that we would kick around in like college, right? In cross country, and like when thinking about like if we did more miles that we would get slower. And there was like this misnomer that like doing more slow work will make you slow, but it's not doing speed work that makes you slow. Right. So it's like if you're doing all this work on the ergs, the ski, the row, whatever, and maybe you're just doing zone 2, maybe you won't get that much faster. Aerobically, you'll get better. Maybe you won't get that much faster on the actual ski or row, but you got to kind of spice some things in there too. So I don't think it should be the only thing, but yeah,
right.
Like being able to, and that's why the erg circles are so clutch, right? Is like setting up an amount of time that is doable for like, that you're not like going super slow, right? Because if I did like a 40-minute row, it'd probably get pretty slow at a point.
Yeah.
But if it's 3 or 5 minutes at a time, it's like I can maintain a decent output with good form as well.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, it's just like running, right? You wouldn't just run zone 2 all the time. You got to touch on the higher intensities, and it's the same way on the machines.
For sure. I've been doing this thing. I've been trying to do 2K a day of just rowing with perfect form. Because I've noticed that in races, when I get fatigued, my form kind of like reverts to like I kind of dip my hands and then I pull early with my arms. And so I think I was just doing this often in training, like if I was doing it during a HYROX workout or whatever under fatigue. So now I'm trying, like Meg, what you were saying, trying to like think about how the form feels more often to try to make the good form feel automatic.
Yeah,
So I think there's something
definitely.
to that as well.
For sure.
So,
And
if you're gonna do zone two on
I think it's exactly like what you're saying too. If I want to do a longer zone 2 effort, I will do like 5K, but anything beyond that, it's kind of like what you're saying. It's hard to like maintain a fast enough pace that feels like good. And then
Mhm.
also the form starts to break down just because it's so long. So I think there is definitely like a sweet spot with keeping the form good without getting fatigued, even in easy efforts, because the longer you go, then the same type of thing happens, just fatigue builds. But yeah, I think it's really smart.
I usually never spend more than 10 minutes on one machine before I switch to the next.
10 minutes
I
is a
think
long
10 minutes is
time.
just like, yeah.
I used to be like that too, and I cannot tell you how many 5K ski and rows I've done since my surgery.
Was you couldn't run.
Oh wait, yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah. So it was like, yeah,
I don't mind it on the
but the
ski.
mental thing I think is good too. It builds this mental tolerance up, and then you go do a 1K, and it's like, that's it, it's
I agree
over.
with
Right.
that. Yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of nice.
I had an injury. This was years ago. So this is before even I was doing HYROX. I think it was like right before. Yeah, it was like I think when it was just coming out, and I would do like 2-hour rows, just sit there and just go, and just like hang out, like watch a movie. So like there's like,
Was it like a more than a half marathon on the rower?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I got to a point.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it would be the equivalent of like 17 miles or something like that. Was like the longest I did. But yeah, it would get pretty slow. But at the end, I would feel like almost like my nervous system was a little wrecked just from like bracing
Hmm.
over and over like that. Like that, I was like, wow, this was some serious work. Even though physically I would feel fine just because no impact, but I feel like a little kind of fried. Um, Meg, there was the row in the ESN comp that you just did.
Hmm.
Tell us more about the comp. We like skipped right over it. She's
This was
back.
very fun because it was really heavy. So
Mm.
I posted in my story the weights. The farmer's carries for the women for the pro were 27 and a half kilos. Dumbbells.
So
Can
that's
you break
Brand
down the
new
race real
dumbbells.
quick?
yeah. Could you give
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
so
top to bottom.
yeah, sorry. So the first run was 1K, and then it
Where
was
did you run
direct
this?
at
Around.
Forder's gym. So they have 250-meter loops, and it's all turfed around. This Forder's is sick. It's such a cool, it's like a compound, and like the gym equipment are in these like big, it's like indoor outdoor, but like it's raw. It's not like no heat, no lights. You know what I mean? It's really raw,
Mhm.
but it's very cool. So you started with a 1K run into the 500-meter row. So the whole order was totally different. Then the runs turned to 500 meters. So then it's 2 loops around. By the way, on the run, you go up a hill and then you come down a hill on the other side.
What shoes
So
did you
the
wear? You
uphill,
just
you
wear like
didn't
regular
just my DV83s.
DV8.
Yeah, I was like, do I need trail shoes for this? Like, I got there and I was kind of concerned, but it was totally fine. So you didn't really notice the hill at first, and then you get about halfway and you really start noticing the hill. You're like, all right, this is a fucking hill. You're trying to like sprint after the assault bike, and you're like, it is not happening. But I would dive bomb down the downhill. So that was really awesome. So it was row, then it was, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was row 500 meters. It was 160-meter sandbag lunge up the hill and then down the hill,
How
and
heavy?
the 30 kilos. So it was like 65 pounds for the women. But this was not
100 and
also
Wow.
like
160.
160 meters. You girl crushed
What?
it. But it was also not a sandbag with handles. It was like a bag of sand. So
Oh, I
like
saw. It was like
also
old
just
Spartan
holding it
style.
on you was wicked awkward at that weight and that distance. So I'm kind of like, should I one shoulder? Like, I don't know what to do here. So we get through that. And then it was I'm trying to remember what was third. There were I'm not gonna do it in order, but the ski was fourth. So that was also interesting. Oh, farmers was third. So it was 200 meters of farmers with 60 pounds, 27 and a half kilos. So
Did
I
you go
go the
unbroken?
I did the first whole loop. It was a loopy loop too. So like the turns like sucked. It was so hard. I got through the first whole loop unbroken. Then I got like about halfway through the second one, had to drop them. And then I like almost had it out and like my left hand was slipping super hard. So I like just put them down, shook them, and then got out of there. I gained a lot of time on the lunges and that because they were heavy. And so for me, it was an advantage, of course.
Right.
Then ski erg was fourth. So this is like not a fun time to do the ski erg. Like this is, imagine the intensity of like Deca, but it's way heavier. So
Yeah.
like the ski is sucking already. You're like, all right, it's starting to hurt because you don't recover. Like the runs were so short and we're hitting it super hard. So it was like not that fun.
It was
Ram
1,000?
burpees. No,
1,000
the
ski row?
after
Oh,
500.
500.
Yeah. So then it was ram burpees, fifth, 30 reps. I thought it was 20. So I'm picking it up at 15. Then I get to 20 and he's like, 10 more. And I was like, what? You know what I mean? I'm like, wait, what do you mean?
How heavy was the
What
ramp?
was the weight?
The normal, so 33 for the women.
Okay, the light one. Okay.
The light one. So it was normal, like in Deca, 33 and then 44, I
So
think. for the
30
men.
reps of that ain't no walk
30
in the
reps.
park.
Yo, I didn't realize how much like my biceps were like flicking it up. I kind of came out. I was very pumped. I'm like shaking my arms out, going up the hill. Then it was the sandbag carry, and that was 110 pounds. And it was 80 meters, and every 10 meters, you had to drop it over the line and pick it back up.
Nice.
So for me, this was my concern because my back, it's 110 pounds. Normally, I have a 100-pound sandball, go rep one. I've done these a million times. But usually you pick it up, you go as far as you can, then you drop it, right? It's not a pick up, go, drop it, pick up. So I had to pick it up and put it down like 8 times. So that's what I was worried about. So I took my time on this. The weight in general was not terrible. It was more like just getting it off. I was just being cautious. I was like, this is
Did you already
not
have
the
like a
time to blow your
substantial
back
lead
out.
at this
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even going slow and being cautious, I would say I probably also extended on that. Then the last station was the assault bike. And then it was just one lap around. So then it was a 250-meter sprint to the finish. So yeah, it was really fun.
Was
I
it
think I won.
5K?
Yeah, it
running?
was a little, actually. So it was 8 runs, a little shy, I would say,
Okay.
probably 8 runs, 7 stations. But yeah, it was really fun. When I looked at my heart rate data after, I was in zone 5 for 34 of 35 minutes. Like full blown, so anaerobic. It was very intense. And then it was really fun watching. There were some doubles teams like Alex and Luke. And then some mixed doubles teams, Linda and Yannick Chopler, and then Pete Schiller and Viola. And those races were wild because you didn't have to run together. You both had to do the run, but you didn't have to be together. So like the strategy of like, if I'm on the rower, I can tag your hand and you can start running when I'm done, and I can like take my time or slow down, and then you can start the next station before I get there. So this was really
I
cool
like that better.
watching. It was
Yeah.
sick. Like watching the strategy play out was really cool. So it was definitely a different event from anything we've really done. Like obviously similar elements, some different, like the sandbag. We've never done like a sandbag carry. We've never done farmers that heavy. So I liked some of the differences, but it was cool just the setup of like the doubles and kind of how it was brutal. Like It didn't look that bad on paper, and then when I was about halfway through it, I was like, "Holy shit." You know what I mean? So, it was
How
fun.
long did it take?
So I was second overall of the pro men and pro women, and I was 35-16. And the first place overall, and the guy, he was like 34-55.
Okay.
So it was like a little over half an hour. They estimated 40 to 45 minutes. So for like most people,
Uh-huh. Sounds hard. Like that
it was
does
hard.
that that reminds me of like some Spartan shit with just like odd objects
I dig
and
it.
like different
I like it.
terrain. Like
Yeah.
like going fast and going kind of slow, you know? Where like now where we're just like, yeah, setting ourselves whether it's Deca or HYROX, just like here's our pace, do this the entire time. When things are
Yeah.
that heavy, it's like it's gonna slow down.
Yeah. So it was interesting how like I didn't anticipate the intensity being as high as it was because I thought since the weights were heavier, it would be slower, but the runs were just so short that
Mm,
we just sent it so hard on the runs that then I don't even think the stations ended up being that slow. Like I was still pulling 149, 150 on the row and like felt very chill and very in control. The ski was like where I was like, okay, I was like 202 because I had to like relax a little bit.
the ski
So
under fatigue for me, it just feels like so
yeah,
awful. I'm just like, oh
yeah,
my God, am I ever gonna get this thing done? And then coming off
yeah,
of it,
for
it feels real
sure.
bad too.
Yeah, I ran off it really well, which I was really happy about. But then coming off the assault bike was 30 cals, and like coming off that and then trying to sprint a 250-meter dash, it was like I looked like Gumby for the first 100 meters. Going up the hill, I was like
Not all the
dying.
hell.
Yeah,
Were you
yeah.
how much were you giving it? Were you going hard on that assault bike, or by that time were you kind of like, we're good here? I could
I still
just
went pretty hard. I think I was
did you?
holding like it took me 90 seconds.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's
So it's
good.
That's pretty
like
solid.
I was like 68 to 70 RPMs. This is coming from all the biking I've been doing.
That's true.
Like my bike game
You were
has
waiting for
definitely
this.
increased. Yeah, I was like, this is my moment. You know what I mean? But yeah,
How was the turnout? What was the vibe like?
they had about 400 participants throughout the whole day. So it
Nice.
started like the first wave was 9 a.m. and it was like every 10 to 15 minutes, another wave of about 10 people was going. It was really, really cool. They have an event in the summer they call Summer Strive, where it's like a team event and it's similar. It's like multiple, it goes on the whole day and it's like different challenges, but with a team. And they have an all men's, all women's, and then a mixed. And that's in July. And I think we're gonna go for that. Because we just had a blast, honestly.
That's a serious amount of people at a gym.
Yeah,
You know, like that's like that's like a deck of fit, a full deck of fit,
yeah,
like
exactly.
at a actual gym facility. That's really cool.
That's more people than were at Miami HYROX back in 2019.
Right.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
for sure. For sure. So yeah, I think it is are we gonna see more of this stuff from ESN? Like is that gonna
I
be
think so.
like
I
some
think
more
so. I don't
events?
think the goal, I mean, the goal is definitely not to get like so big, right? But it's like kind of the backyard raw kind of event, group team type event. I think they're interested in doing more and sponsoring more stuff like that. They were also a sponsor of Affix Games, which you might have seen
Yeah.
online. It's like pretty big in the UK. And that's a little more CrossFitty. It's like heavy lifts. There's like a cardio like team component at the end, but it's like one RM deadlift and then
Mhm.
like other different max lifts and stuff. So they like that, but I think this is more of like the hybrid kind of thing. And then it's also just a totally different output because it's heavier, it's shorter, it's not so like consistently paced like Hyrox is. So and because it's shorter, then they can have more people. That's also part of it. They don't need
Right.
so much equipment like people are getting through things quicker. It's not bottlenecking or anything. So I think they'll do more.
And when it's ESN, it gets the big time athletes out. Like the
Yeah.
amount of athletes who are there is like, oh wow, this would be a
Yeah.
stacked HYROX race.
Yeah, it actually would. Yeah, definitely.
I'm
Who won the
curious
the mixed
what the
doubles? My bad. Kim.
good.
Linda and Yannick Chapler, but it came down to the wire. There's the UK athlete Sinead Bent
Oh yeah, yeah.
and Jeremy McConnell, who did the men's pro doubles with Dylan in Houston.
Yes.
They were really, really good, but they went out so hot. I kind of was like, I think they might not be able to. And it was so close the whole time, but I think Yannick and Linda just played it a little better. Like they just had a little more juice at the end. So they ended up overtaking. I think it was only like a 30-second gap though by the end. So it was very close. Yeah.
I was curious what the lunge weight was for the men. If
It
the women were
was
60 some
I
pounds.
want to say it was either 40 or 50. I would say probably 50. Does that
Kilos.
seem? Yeah, kilos.
So
Does that make sense?
160 meters.
It might have
That'd
been
be
40.
Yeah, 40. I mean, would be more
That would
more
make
doable.
more sense, right?
If it was 110 pounds. I mean, over 160 meters would be like a grind. That would
Yeah.
suck. That would suck real
Yeah.
bad. But I don't know. Maybe
It was weird doing it up and down the hill though. Like you're stabilizing. Coming downhill doing lunges was
And it was
way
probably almost
harder than I
easier
thought.
going up.
It was
I would assume.
actually easier. Like to keep your balance, I think I felt better going up than down, which was interesting.
Hmm.
So
nice. So she's back.
yeah, it was
Back in
fun.
the competition. Feel good to get back
And
out there?
I race next Friday in Cologne with Luke. We're doing mixed doubles together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I was supposed to
Nice.
race with Benny, but he has a stress fracture. So I said to Luke, hey, do you want to race with me? And he was like, yeah. And then I'm like, I might regret this because it's
It's gonna be
obviously
hard.
going to be very hard.
It's gonna
So,
be very hard.
but it'll be good. He's a good partner for me though, because he was along the journey. He was actually the person who connected me to my back surgeon. So he like knows what I went through. So if I have to like bitch out a little bit and make him do a little more station work, I won't feel as bad. So
His
that's
fitness is
good.
coming around, right?
Yeah, he's pretty fit. I mean, he and Alex like destroyed that race. But it was him and Alex against Tom Hogan and oh my God,
Jake.
Thank you. I'm like, wait, who was Tom's partner? And Jake, and that was also a really fun, like very close battle, which was really, really interesting. But yeah.
So some mixed doubles action. I like it. I like it.
It's probably good for you to get all this racing in before.
I need it.
Like every opportunity you can get. Why not?
And I think it's just for me, I think I have such an appreciation of like just being able to compete again. I'm dropping my YouTube series on Sunday and I was watching the preview and like seeing how far I've come in 4 months is it's pretty crazy. Like I actually can't believe at the like fitness that I have right now from seeing the before surgery, hearing doctors telling me initially that there was no chance I'd be able to line up in June, and then like finding somebody else and having a specialized surgery done, and now I'm back like to competing. Like I had my surgery November 23rd. It's barely April. Like
Yeah, half a year.
it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So I'm just really proud. And then I think just being in the community is something that I need and I love. So it's just nice to like get back out there and be around people doing fitnessy stuff.
How'd your body bounce back?
I felt great. I was anticipating that I would feel like not good on Sunday, but I was very good. I was just a little tight, which I anticipated a lot worse. So I wasn't sore at all, which was great.
I was thinking about you when going into it, like how like you were feeling mentally, and if it were me, I would have been like probably pretty nervous.
Oh my God, I was
Yeah.
super nervous. The next thing I know, there's like posts about it on Instagram, and I'm getting tagged. Like, look at all these athletes doing ESN games, and I was like, wait,
Like, oh
what? I
shit,
thought
this is
this
a
was a
thing.
low key thing. And I was just like going to have fun. So it was. I didn't anticipate going as hard as I did. I was just like, oh, let's just do it, and then you get caught up in the competitive nature. So but yeah, I actually was really nervous. Um, and then now I feel good. And I'm like, okay, we're back. We can be confident again. So it's nice.
Yeah, it actually is a nice little rust buster.
Yes, exactly.
Are you gonna do a solo before Worlds?
So I'm signed up for Berlin in May. Um, so that's my plan for
Is that the
now.
airport hangar?
Yeah.
Nice, the one lapper.
Yeah. Yeah. The one lapper.
You're trying to get one of those.
Easy for my brain,
You want one of those 56 courses.
Yeah.
No, you
Hey.
missed out. You missed out in Glasgow.
Yes, I did. The Berlin race sold out in less than a day. I
Wow,
like
really?
it like got online, we got tickets, and then it was sold out. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice. So you got some stuff going. Did you learn anything? Anything else, or was just kind of like feeling confident and just being like, hey, I can do this now?
Just feeling confident. Just I was impressed with myself, like how long I could sit in like that discomfort, like that high output, that high heart rate, like that I was able to maintain that for a pretty long time, like this early, because I hadn't done I've done nothing together. Everything I'm doing in training right now is like running and then some stationy stuff, but I haven't combined it yet.
Mm,
So I wasn't sure how that was gonna go. And then it just kind of reminded me, like, you got this. This
mm.
is your shit. Like, this is what you're good at. So yeah, it was just nice being out there, and yeah, just getting back into the old run, obstacle thing, run kind of situation.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
All right. So we had another question about
Well, that'll do it for today's episode.
right.
Yeah.
So that's how we should have
Little
started.
tangent, little 25-minute tangent. Let's go.
That's how we should have just started anyway. And now I'm gonna divert from this question as well. It talks about like how to maintain, like how to kind of train for HYROX while preparing for an Ironman. And none of us have done a distance like that in this space. So I think we would just kind of be speculating. But then it kind of got me thinking, it's like, what events, if any events, would you two do if once like we're done doing HYROX, if that's ever the case? Like if there's time where like, oh, I can prepare for something different, what would you do?
I'd probably do an ultra.
Run?
Yeah.
Leadville?
Just go get lost in the mountains somewhere for a while. Which I never thought I would actually want to do. Because if you would have asked me this 5 years ago, I would have said no way. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just getting older thing. I'm like, dude, I just want to go run easy in the mountains for like 5 hours, 6 hours.
Would you do a 100?
Maybe.
Like a day?
Maybe.
It would be sick to do Leadville.
Yeah.
That would be crazy to come out and do like the mountains out here. But a day of running, it's a lot.
100%.
Meg, what do you think?
I wouldn't go back to doing Spartan, I don't think. Nothing like that.
I might never do a Spartan ever again. I might be
I've
done.
never done one, so we're
Meg's
going to
out.
keep it
That'll
that
be the
way.
thing. Kent will probably do whatever the Fayetteville or whatever they have.
Charlotte's
Posted.
like this weekend, I think.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's part of their series race too.
It is?
Yeah.
You're going?
I'm not going.
You're going.
That would
We'll
be
see you
hilarious
there.
though.
See you on ORM. Yeah, no, I think I'm done for Spartan for life. But the 100-miler or like an ultra, like the way that these athletes are running like 50Ks now, it's like not a jog.
No,
like
they're racing
hammered.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're racing. It's even like how David Roche ran the 100. He was like kind of racing the whole time. It's insane. But a day of running is a lot.
What
Meg, what do
kind
you
of
think?
pace? What kind of paces are they doing for that?
For which distance?
Like the guy you were just talking about.
Let me see what his 100-mile was.
Well, it's with how much elevation gain too. You got to
Right.
take
That's
that
true.
into account too.
I'll look this up and then I'll get back to you.
I think I would go in the direction. I think probably, and I think I haven't done a full marathon yet because when I was training for my first full, COVID happened, and so then everything got canceled. And I lived in New York too, obviously, so it was like really long that things were canceled for. So then I just started to get into other things. So that's definitely on my list of like things I want to do.
Just an actual marathon, straight up.
Yeah, just a straight up marathon. And then I think like some kind of try. I don't know if I'd ever want to do an Ironman. That's like so long.
Do they still
But
do duathlons? That's just bike and run, right? Can we
yeah,
just like
see, I would love that. Can we
omit
skip the
the
swim?
swim? Yeah.
That's the part
We're
I
out here
suck at.
swimming, baby. Just
Rich is good at swimming now. So
wouldn't say good, but I
Would
just
say
do it.
good.
he does.
I
He
still
does
wouldn't
it.
trust him as a lifeguard.
I bust your ass, Kent. Watch.
Rich, what about you?
I don't know. I was thinking my like plan was to like lean way into CrossFit and just be like, all right, I'm just be like
Yeah.
a CrossFit masters athlete. That's not that much different, honestly. You know, it would be like, all right, I'm just gonna run a little bit less and lift a little bit, a bit more, and do like some Olympic lift stuff. But I mean, now that I do swim, the Ironman is sounding like something to be like, huh, that'd be interesting. It's just these longer events. It just seems like how locked in you can be with your nutrition, like how much you can eat, and like practicing eating, like, and that doesn't sound that cool to me. I don't
Yeah.
really want to do like these long efforts and just like eat and eat and eat and then like eat and then run fast and like trying to figure that out. I'm not that interested in cycling either. Like outdoor cycling is like a little scary and
I'm very scared of it. So I
it
get
seems
that.
it seems boring too. Just like you're just out there for forever. Just like a 4-hour bike ride. I
You
don't
could say the
know.
same for running.
For sure. For sure. But I know that I can
Just you're
do it
going
with
at an
running.
even slower pace.
Yeah.
At least biking, it's kind of like driving, but a little slower.
I would probably say like 100. Like I think preparing for like a Leadville or something like that, or a Western States or something that's like just like this epic mountain day, I think would be cool to kind of go to that point. And I don't think I would have to like I don't know if I would be like, okay, now I need to run 100 miles a week because I don't really want to do that. I think I would just kind of like do more and then just go in the race day and just hope and just be like, let me try to get this thing done. David Roche averaged 9:16
Wow.
for 100 miles over trails, and like
That's really fast.
it's insane. Like I did a like an 8-mile run last year. I remember doing it, and it was like ended up being like close to like that pace, and I was like, oh, I'm tired.
Was it the one you did with me? Because we were
That it was
slow.
that same course.
Yeah.
How much elevation was in that race?
I think it's like 16,000 or something like that. I'm gonna look it up.
Golly.
That's impressive.
And it's all
That
above 10,000 feet the whole time.
Yeah, see, for me, I'm not interested at all in any of
Really?
that. No, like not
What
at all.
What about it?
It's trails too. It's
You're okay. You're
for
okay on trails.
forever. I'm not bad at trails. It's not, I don't know. I'm a pavement kind of girl.
Just rhythm.
I like to be clean. I don't like to be dirty. I don't know.
Dirty. Yeah, 15,744 feet. And
That's actually so every 10 miles, he's getting like 1,500 feet. That's not that crazy.
I guess we put it like that. Because I don't think, because you start over 10,000 and you reach up to 12. So I guess you probably are just kind of like rolling. So I
Yeah.
don't think there's any like, it looks like there's only like one crazy climb, but you're still at above 10,000 feet.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's incredible. And it was probably like that type of running. I mean, I haven't done much of this, the trails out there, but when you're up that high, I mean, there's no like trees. It's not like roots. Like the trails, those
Mhm.
trails are probably a little bit easier to run than definitely what you're dealing with right now, Ken. Carolinas. Let me. I was thinking about this the other day. I saw. I don't know what I saw. It was maybe something on Instagram or YouTube where it was somebody kind of bragging about finishing a HYROX without really preparing for it. And I was like, and I didn't quite understand the point of it. The point of like what the point of their post was, like doing something that is hard without preparing for it, I suppose is an accomplishment.
Is that a
Maybe
flex?
mentally. I mean, I think it's a flex. Yeah, I think that's what we're calling it. But like, and then it got me thinking, like, that whole culture of doing things without really preparing for it is just not what I'm interested in any way.
I'm 0% interested or impressed.
And yeah, like, so for me, what makes me think this way, it's like, I think there's value in like in preparing for something, in like diving into something and trying to be great or as great as you can. Like there's things that carry over, and it's just like trying to see what you can do when you're like, if you're going to do something, do it right kind of thing, you
Yep.
know? And I was trying to wrap my head around like why it, what's the value in the opposite of doing a bunch of things like in a mediocre way? Any thoughts?
Hmm.
It's just someone looking for attention and clout. Like, I don't pay any mind to posts like that when I see them. If it comes across my feed, I just keep scrolling. I'm just not interested. I'm still not sure what the question is, if I'm being 100% honest, but it's just like
If you're
I
looking
don't
at it
fucking
as the
care.
opposite way, right? Like, is there value in doing things like this? Like, if we were just like, hey, I just want to check off a bunch of things off of this list, just to do.
No, I mean, that's like saying, all right, I'm going to go do a marathon this Saturday, but I didn't really prepare for it.
The amount
What-
of people I've heard say that is actually scarily high. The
Right. So it
amount
has
of
to be
people
some
I
sort
know
of.
that have like signed up for a marathon and been like, yeah, I just signed up because I don't know, I just want to do a marathon and didn't prepare at all. I- But to me, if I have like a bucket list of things I want to do, I think the preparation is the most exciting part because that's where you're learning and developing new skills. And that's where I'm finding out more about who I am and growth. And I love the process. I think we all love the process here, at least. That's my favorite part of even doing HYROX is the training. I think honestly, I don't want to sound like crazy saying this, but the chase of winning worlds was more exciting than the win for me last year. And I realized that when I crossed the finish line and I was like, yes, I'm really happy and excited. But then when I went back to my hotel, I was like, okay, now tomorrow's another day. You know what I mean?
Keep
Like
prepping. Yeah.
it didn't like the shiny thing isn't usually the most important part of what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's the process of goal setting and overcoming and, setbacks and handling them. And I think that's like the most exciting part. So for me, if I have a list of all these things I want to do in fitness or physically or just on a bucket list, like I'm specifically going to prepare for them to have the experience fully, even if it takes a lot of time. That's just me though.
So have you heard that Tom Brady quote when he was asked, like, what's your favorite Super Bowl ring?
Yeah.
The next
He
one.
said the next one. Right. So
Yeah.
it's like the same kind of thing, right? It's like, yeah, like it's it's great the accomplishment, but the prep is where the real value is. And yeah, I guess I was just trying to think, like, is there something to be said about just like maybe some mental toughness or some sort of like physical preparedness that is just like allowing you to do anything or to do most things, and maybe like the outcome isn't necessarily what people are, or like maybe the process of becoming better in one specific thing isn't something people care about. And maybe it's just like that. I mean, that's kind of what this whole hybrid movement is, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I can lift weights, or I can run a 5K, or I could do a marathon, but it's like, it's all like kind of pretty average, right? Yeah, I guess I just like can't wrap, I don't necessarily think I can wrap my head around it, but like doing like an ultra like that, like we were talking about, kind of got me thinking about it. It's like, okay, it's going to put me in a mental space that I've never really been before. Maybe there's value there. So maybe that's what these people are trying to do, where it's like, I'm just going to put myself in this really uncomfortable situation that I'm unprepared for, you know?
I don't
guess
think
we don't
they're
really know
thinking
this.
about it as deep as you are, though.
Do you think they're just like, I just want
I
to
think it's
see
just like,
what I can
I'm
do?
gonna and post about it. Yeah, you know what I
Like,
mean.
did they
I think
really not
that's
run? They didn't do any running. They didn't do a single wall ball in training. They didn't push a single sled. Like,
Well, it's like the
come on.
CrossFitters that finished and like, oh, I didn't really prepare for it, because like they didn't prepare for it how we prepare for it, but they're like prepared for it. They could do it.
right.
But yes, they didn't they didn't
They didn't do
do
like a
like
12-week HYROX
they
program.
didn't do a
Right.
progression, right? They
Gotcha.
didn't
Right.
follow something like to one specific area.
Right.
So I don't know if I would ever want to do, like, I think that they're like we're doing like World's Toughest, right? World's Toughest Mudder. It's like, you can't really, I guess you can kind of prepare for that, but like not
That's
really.
true.
You know, you just kind of have
That's
to
a
go
good
out and be
point.
like, all right, let's see this, and like if how fun or whatever that be. I think it's just like it's just like a different person, I think.
Yeah.
To each his own, I guess.
Yeah, maybe one day I want to like see where I'm ready to go, like fit, like, because that's something that I don't know how it would go, because I rely so heavily on just being prepared and being like fit, that if it got, and I think of, because I can do this, that like, yeah, I could do 100, whatever, but like I don't know how I would do mentally after 12 hours of running. You know, it's like a place I've never been.
It's
I
still
know
not. It's
exactly how
not.
I would do.
You're not comparing apples to apples, though.
True. I'd be like, what the fuck did I do? Why did I do this? I'd be swearing like crazy. I would not be having fun.
No, I don't think it would be fun at all.
0% fun.
Maybe like when it's over. I think it'd be very fun when it's over, but like during it would be pretty gnarly. And yeah, no, I'm not comparing apples to apples.
I'm just saying, like, you could not really prepare for a HYROX and go get it done, but you could not really prepare for a 100-miler and bonk out at a quarter of the way in. You know?
Oh, you're saying the
So,
challenge is just that much different?
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then then I started thinking, like, is this even something that matters? Like, is this, like, do I need to know how I would respond after running 12 hours? Well, it's like the selection can't, right? Like,
that's
that
where
was
my
good-
mind was going. Yeah. I
like,
don't need to go
kinda
do anything like that. I already know. I can do it.
Did you wonder what it was going to be like before? And was it the same? Because that is probably the closest that
It
any
was
three of us has
harder.
done to, like, it was harder
It
than what
was
you thought.
harder. Yeah.
I think the
Definitely.
part of that that's different and makes it hard is that you have no idea what's coming next, genuinely. Like,
True.
you guys weren't like a 100-miler, you sign up, you know it's a 100-miler. So like
Next is
you
a
can
mile.
mentally like, yeah. But like for something like that, like you're signing up with having no idea what you're getting yourself into. And like some of those scenarios
I'm glad
weren't
I
even
didn't know. To be
physically hard.
ignorance was
It was
bliss in
mental.
some
Yeah, that's
regards.
probably true. That's probably true. Because if you didn't know, you probably wouldn't have gone.
Right. I'd be like,
Like
no thanks.
the confinement thing.
Solitary confinement. Yeah.
No, like no way. If I knew that was a thing,
Mhm.
I would
Right.
have been like,
Like
nope, I'm not signing up for this.
like the physical pain stuff, like the gas or whatever, like
Yeah.
that of course would probably be awful, but like it's probably just like pain you're dealing with. but like being stuck in a box. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, Kent was on a show on the History Channel, Travel History Channel,
History.
called The Selection, which is basically like putting you through high level military training and kind of combat
Exercises,
scenarios, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Scenarios. Yeah.
Did you feel like that was valuable to then your athletic performance?
Initially, no, because it took me so long to recover from that experience, both physically and mentally. My entire Spartan season was effed at the time. Like, I remember I had a race like a month after that, and I did not do well at all. It just took me a while to mentally and physically recover from something like that. But I think ultimately, in the end, when I finally was recovered, I was able to, when I was in difficult situations, I was able to look back and be like, oh, I've been in a much more challenging spot than I am currently in, and being able to just have comfort that I've suffered through a lot and can continue to suffer through a lot. I think there's power in that for sure. I think it's been so long now that I can't really pull from it anymore. But knowing that I have done it is still pretty powerful. The ruck at the end was the last thing we did was the ruck, which was through the desert in California in 110 degrees with a 50-pound backpack, and we had to summit like 4 different mountain peaks. That was physically one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I mean, I didn't know it at the time, but I was about a mile from the finish, and I just stopped on the side of the road and just sat underneath a tree. It was like the only piece of shade that I can find, and I was about to quit like in that moment. And little did I know I was a 20-30 minute walk from being complete this whole thing. But I was on the verge, man. I was on the verge of finding my limit there. And I can't say that, I've been in that situation many times before. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Pretty cool. So like, yeah, you probably could do 100 without training, just going out there and doing it. Did you train for the selection at all? Or you just kind of like showed up, right?
Took
You just
my
doing Spartan
obstacle
stuff.
course racing fitness and went in there.
You guys heard of Spartan race? It's pretty tough. All right. Yeah. What else we have to talk about? Anything else we need
Was
to
there any
cover
more
here?
questions?
There's some. I was like, all right, we can touch on this one. If you had to get better, if you had to prepare to get faster at lunges, what would you do?
Oh, this is for your personal. Rich put this question in because it's what he's trying to work on right
my
now.
questions. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, just any single leg lunge variation is going to help. I'm a big fan of a Bulgarian. If you can do heavy Bulgarians, you can do 100 meters of sandbag lunges in the HYROX. That's my belief, because Bulgarians suck a lot worse. But honestly, it's just doing a lot of lunges and single leg stuff, and at various paces, at various weights. I think that's something that people don't do enough. I do a lot of body weight lunges for just like a really long distance. So like I'll do a finisher of in a workout of like 200 meters of body weight, and I'm like going fast, like intentionally. So then just like working cadence, and then just playing with the intensity of it, I think is important, but you just got to do more.
I'm not convinced that body weight lunges at like faster speeds translates to race weight like scenario. I can see how one
I think if you
might believe
do
that.
enough volume of it, it can.
Yeah.
Like you
And
think 200
what was
meters?
done, like what was done before too, right? So like usually this is like a leg day finisher. Like I've already
For
hit
sure.
super hard.
Yeah.
I already did split squats, Bulgarians, and sleds or something, and then I'm finishing with. I mean, that one
Right.
sucks.
Right.
Rich in my YouTube was talking about how I would do 400 meters of body weight lunges pretty often. That was
just to
like a
see.
staple for me. I'd be
She was
like,
like, I just
let's
want to make
just
sure.
see, let's just make sure we can do this unbroken. I think it also depends too on like what division you're doing. For like open women, doing body weight and doing a higher amount, I think does translate because
True.
it's only
Right.
22 pounds or 25 pounds. So it
Mm,
just
yeah.
depends. But again, I think like varying the cadence, varying the weight, varying the distances. Obviously, if you go way heavier, then you might want to do shorter like durations or meters, whatever. Race weight, you should practice the entire, duration pretty often. But yeah, I think it's just incorporating them more.
Rich, I tell you what I would do. Okay. I'll tell you what I would do, Rich.
Let's hear it.
I would just do race weight and I would do smaller sets. I would do like 10 sets of 20 with 60 to 90 seconds rest and work it really fast. I would just stick to the race weight, shorter sets, recovery in between. 10 sets of 20, that's double the race volume too. So you'd get about 200 meters. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would just do smaller sets at faster speeds.
Do you play around with the like step length, or do you kind of just set
I
into
do.
what feels the most? You will, because that's something I'm like
Yeah.
starting to put. Like when I'm watching some of the other guys go, like the length of their step is longer, and
You do take pretty short steps, actually.
and yeah, I think, and like when you take it longer, it's like way more glutey. So
Way
it's like a
more
different
glutey.
thing. Yeah, it's like high hamstring glute when you're stepping way out. So it's like a different kind of motion. Like how do you guys play around with that?
I change it up in the race. I'll do like shorter, shorter, longer, longer. And I like alternate that.
With a cadence like that, just
You,
2 and 2?
yeah. I think one thing for you why your lunges are shorter is also because your running stride is not super like lengthy.
Maybe.
Mine is
Yeah.
very lengthy. So I think just naturally I probably take a bigger step than you. That could be part of your thing. I was just thinking about that. But
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, I think toying with that is helpful.
It's like if you could do less
Because then you
reps,
can
like
kind of
jumping
change
longer.
it can be less reps, but it can also kind of change like what muscles working more. So like I also always have a forward lean because then it's also going to make it more glute dominant. So you can kind of toy with like where you're feeling it more if you kind of adjust that.
Yeah, and I think that's something that does need to be like trained on, right? Because it is
Yeah.
different musculature that just like stepping into it on racing. Just like I'm just take long strides, but like training that longer range of motion for that type of
I can just
strength.
see Rich right now taking like 4-foot strides. He's basically in like a split.
As long as possible. My back leg is completely straight. Just I'm gonna do it.
Just make sure that
Rich
knee
did
touches.
100
That's all.
meters with 50
25
lunges.
steps.
25 steps.
That's what's happening. What were you saying, Meg?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry. Oh, I did want to ask Ken, are you doing men's pro doubles in Miami?
Why, did you hear something?
Oh, you said you're gonna be in Miami and then you didn't
Oh,
tell me
yeah,
what you
yeah.
were doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess it's not really a secret when neither one of us have said, "Hey, let's not tell anyone." But yeah, I will be there. With my dog, my DECA rival, the one who pushed me to the limit in Chicago in
Okay.
2023, Mr. Rylan
Rylan.
Shabig.
Very nice. That's a good
Good
team
team.
up.
It's a good team.
Yeah, I'm excited. My season
That's
is
gonna
still
be
alive.
that's gonna be a fun race for me to watch. I don't know about for you guys going head to head, but
It'll be plenty fun for me. I'm gonna have a great time.
who else do you know who else you guys are racing?
It was
I don't
supposed to be
know.
Hunter and Jake Williamson, but it's not
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, I heard that.
So
Who's
Colin
qualified?
and
Yeah, Colin
for-
and Jack Driscoll.
Jack Driscoll. Qualified on the men's side, the US teams. Well, who qualified
Dylan
in
and Jeremy.
Dylan, Jeremy, Marcus Wallace, and Dawson Miller, and it was JK and
And then what other
Jake.
race was there?
Jake.
There was one in
Australia.
Australia, but I'm not familiar really with.
It was like Chris Woolley qualified with his
Oh,
partner.
okay.
And then 2 teams that I don't know. And I think that's
Yeah.
been it,
Okay.
right? And now
Yeah.
there's so it's Miami,
And then Paris, right?
Paris.
And I think, isn't there a
Paris.
There could be
London?
another one. There should be.
There's a
yeah,
London. It's London XL, I believe.
it is. That's for doubles.
I believe so. Yeah.
'Cause there should be 5.
Yeah.
And it's just top 3 at each one. There's no time or
Yep.
anything like that, right?
Correct.
Just got to punch our ticket. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really fun.
It is going to be fun.
And then you're with Camilla.
Yeah, my girl.
Heck yeah. It's gonna be a great weekend. Great weekend. All right. I think that'll do. Feel good?
I feel like we've
Feeling
been on here
happy?
for like 2 or 3 hours. It's only been 56 minutes.
56 mins. Well, that'll wrap us up today. Thanks for checking out the RMR Training Podcast. Share this with a friend if you think it could help them out. Let us know what questions you have. We can touch on some Q&A down the road. ESN, BPN, the feed, Puma,
Mm-hmm.
Rock Puma, Amaze Fit.
Amaze Fit.
Wear that. Definitely.
Go WOD.
Go WOD. Stretch. Make sure you're stretching.
Get that mobility.
Word. All right, squad. Talk to you soon.
Peace.